So, Namaskaram, good morning from San Jose, California to the College of Engineering Trivandrum Alumni Association. At the outset, let me thank Satish Kumar, Chairman, Organizing Committee, the President, Soji P. Oman, Secretary Suju Kumar and Treasurer Rajesh R. for having invited me to this talk. So, the subject that has been given to me is to share my thoughts on stress management. So, I am going to work on that. I am going to tell you a little story. Nobody needs to introduce Gautama the Buddha. Everybody knows Gautama the Buddha. So, you must be also aware that Gautama the Buddha had a very close disciple, dear disciple called Ananda. So once they had a discussion, out of which Ananda grasped a few things, but he could not get a solution to it. And therefore he said, as the Buddha always said, depend on yourself to solve your problems. So he decided he should solve the problem. So he started thinking about it. But he couldn't get a solution. Thought over again, different angles of looking at the problem. Then, in the midst of all this, he started pacing up and down, up and down, up and down, trying to figure out the answer to the problem. He walked so much up and down, and it was such a serious problem for him because he was a spiritual seeker. Not like the spiritual seekers who are seekers for 2 weeks and 10 months and then give up and seek the spirit in the bar, but a really serious spiritual seeker. So what did he do? He walked up and down and got the soles of his feet bruised and bloody. But the Buddha was watching this from far. So he called him. He said, Ananda, come here. So he said, okay, sit down. Okay, he said, before you sit down, go bring your stringed instrument. Ananda used to play beautifully on the veena. He said, bring your veena. So he brought the veena. He said, sit down. I want you to play a beautiful song, but first settle the strings properly. So Ananda adjusted the strings. He was turning and turning and turning. Buddha said, stop, you might break the string now. It's too tense. Okay, said I. So he started loosening and loosening. It became very slack. So Buddha asked him, what music will come out of a slack string? What you need for music to come out is a string which is properly adjusted in its right tightness and at the same time not too slack. When you have that, you know it, you are a musician. You seem to be agitated, otherwise you won't be doing this. So Ananda adjusted it in its proper way, and beautiful music was heard by the Gautama, who said, in whatever language he said, Sabash. What I am trying to say is this. The word stress and what it means to most of us. See, I am sitting here today in San Jose, it's in California. I am talking to you. It's on one side is the Orange County and all that farming, and on the other hand is the IT hub. I'm sure there are many people who are very tense here because all the time working, no relaxation. And what is the relaxation when you really need relaxation? Nothing seems to be available, so you drink or you take drugs or you do whatever people do usually. But then how long can you carry on with that? You come back and there is what you call a period of low feelings, and then you come up, then again is down. It goes on. I can understand, it's understandable that this thing called stress happens. Now what I'm trying to say is this. When you say stress, you have to find out reasons why it happens. I can give you a technique, what you call a technical stress buster, which is not alcohol or drugs, but something else. But that works, but it works temporarily. Again, after some time, you come back to stress. So, the first thing to understand in stress management, hoping that we have understood what it means, is we have to first realize that if you are stressed, you cannot do something good. You cannot work perfectly. Your intelligence is scattered, your mind is scattered. It's all because of stress. So, first the psychological understanding must be there that stress is not good for me. First thing, because you have to start with the mind and then go to a technique, not start with the technique and come on to the mind. So, it's like saying I have to find some technique to control my anger. First, the mind has to accept the fact that anger is not good for me. If I am angry, I cannot work perfectly. If I am angry, all my accuracy is gone. If I am angry, I am not one-pointed. If I am angry, I do things without thinking. So, understanding this, I have to first say to myself, I have to be free of this. Then only the technique comes in. Same way with stress or any other emotion. First, I have to psychologically accept the fact that this stress is of no use to me. Let it sink into the subconscious properly. Repeat it every day if necessary, like a mantra. I don't want stress, I am going to work. Now, please understand that being without stress doesn't mean not working and being lazy and slack. It's like Ananda's Veena string. That doesn't work either. In fact, you go deeper and deeper into depression. If you stop all work, you do nothing because I don't want to be stressed, and then from that depression, stress comes back again. That's not a solution. So, accept the fact that while we remain in this world, while we remain in this battlefield of Kurukshetra, we need to handle this thing called stress. Look at the Gita. Arjuna is stressed out. He doesn't know what to do. He finds many reasons to say that I won't fight this battle. Now, this is laziness. It's not, and fear. He doesn't know what is going to happen, but he says, as if he's a saint, I won't do this. So, and in that battlefield of Kurukshetra, Krishna gives him advice on how to be free of stress and carry on one's work without fear. And the key word used in the Gita for this is sarvatra sama-buddhayaḥ, which means keeping your mind sane and tranquil under all circumstances, good or bad. In the battlefield of life, good and bad is to be expected. There is never a time when there are only good things happening. Bad things are the other side of the coin. There is some good, there is some bad. So, if we can accept that first, accept that life has downs and ups, both lows and highs. Accept it first to start with. Also accept the fact that if we don't stay above this flow of up and down, we cannot function properly. More than physical, mental, mind cannot function properly. And therefore, make the mind understand daily that I have to be free of this kind of stress. It's not going to help me in any way. I need to get out of it. That is the first thing that is essential. Once you have said, yes, this I am going to do deliberately, not allow it to happen, but do it deliberately, then there are ways and means to fight it. First, this psychological acceptance has to be there, this psychological reiteration of the fact that I want to be stress-free, I need to work, stress doesn't do any good to me. But here I have to tell you something, mostly people feel stressed because they are doing work which they don't love to do, which they don't like to do. Can you imagine someone who really is working on something he loves? Where is the stress? There is no stress. Suppose I love music and I am singing and playing, there is no stress. What happens is, in our desire to earn money and become rich and make more money, we sometimes enter into professions which we really don't like from the bottom of our heart, but we have to earn our bread and butter. Now there is this contradiction in the mind, why am I doing this? That's also one of the reasons why stress comes, because we are doing something we really don't want to do. So I have an advice here. It's not easy for everybody to follow. If you are in a profession which you're only there to make money and don't love it, get out of it and find something else, even if you earn less money. Why? Stress free. You make money full of stress. What is the use? Why does one make money? To become peaceful, to be tranquil, to be happy. If that doesn't work, it's absolutely of no use to us. I must tell you another story. There was this, I'm not saying we should be like that, just an example. In the village, there was a guy lying on a cot with his one leg up and probably smoking a beedi, I don't know. He was lying there. And under the shade of the tree, there was a gentle breeze blowing. And one MBA guy goes there and says, "Sir, why are you wasting your time? Why are you lying?" He said, "Okay, what should I do?" "Well, you do this, 1, 2, 3, A, B, C, and you make a lot of money." "Okay." He said, then you can buy a car, you can buy a house. "Okay, then you can have a good wife and you can." "Okay." Then he says, "Then what?" "Then you can lie down happily in your bed and enjoy." He said, "Why are you disturbing me? I'm already happily lying on my bed and smoking my beedi. Get out of the way." What is it? So what is this thing which is stress-free? It is a mind state. So having said all this, I am coming to this point that it's basically a thing of the mind. It has nothing to do with outer surroundings or what you do, what you're not doing. It's a question of the mind. If you can keep the mind quiet, understanding the ups and downs of life are quite normal, and we need to handle it. And if we need to handle it, we need to be free of stress. 1. 2. That it has to be done in the midst of life. You can't go to a cave and become stress-free. I know people who go to a cave, after 1 week they become so full of stress that they come back and go see a psychiatrist, a shrink. No solution. So while here, how do we work? And one of the points which I told you is this: do work which you really love to do. And if you're already doing work which you don't love to do, develop some love to do. Find reasons why you should love this work, because you're making money. So this is very important to note. Otherwise it's like living in the same house with a wife who always creates stress for you. Maybe the other way for her, poor thing. I'm just saying. So this is one point. The other is, now we come to this techniques. There are a few yogic techniques which you practice every day. Again, I am telling you, the mindset has to be there before you practice. Which we already discussed. And what are the techniques? Again, I'll tell you a story. The Buddha was walking with his disciples and he sat down under a tree. Don't mistake me, I'm not a Buddhist by religion or anything of the kind, but it's beautiful. So he sat under the tree and he sent one of his disciples. He was giving a sermon. He said, "Go to the pond and bring some water." A disciple went with a pot. Just when he was about to take the clear water, a horse galloped across the water body. The whole thing became muddy. This fellow came back and said, "Oh, Gautama, I could not get the water. It's become very muddy." Buddha said, "Sit down." After about 1 hour, he said, "Go and bring water." So he went there. Horse had gone, the water had settled. He brought the water to drink. So Buddha drank the water and he said, "Here is another lesson for you. All you require is wait and have patience. The mud which was there settled down because you gave time for it to settle down." In the same way, when you feel stressed and agitated, don't try to handle it in a kind of a, you're not in a war zone, right? Keep quiet. Let it settle down. Many things settle down if you just keep quiet and close your eyes for a while. So if there is an agitation, if you would only sit down and not say, "Oh, how do I solve it?" Relax, sit down. Quietly the mud will settle down. You will have clear water on the top. Because deep down, there is one part of the mind which by its very nature is absolutely calm and quiet. all the disturbances that appear are ripples on that pond. If you would only allow it to settle down, we will get back to that quiet, clear water. This is a story to illustrate one of the ways of getting a stress-free, clear mind, considering a mind that is stressful and agitated cannot come to the right decisions, cannot make the right discoveries, cannot inquire in the right direction, and cannot arrive at the goal. Okay. Now, are there any yogic techniques? Yes, if having understood all that we discussed, if you have time for 10-15 minutes every day, there are a couple of yogic techniques which can help you. One, this is practical. Set apart some time for this every day. One is called calming the breath. Why calming the breath? The rhythm of your breathing is directly connected to your emotional state and your mental state. If your mind is calm, if your emotions are tranquil, then the breathing pattern is very, very slow, quiet, rhythmatic, and tranquil. So therefore, if your mind state is reflected in the breathing pattern, Rishi said you can also control your breathing pattern and bring about a calm state of mind. It works both ways. So this pranayam, also a mind exercise, including when you do, first your breath slows down. When your breath slows down, your mind slows down. When I say slow down, it doesn't mean it becomes dull. The agitating part of the mind, the troubled mind settles down in quietness and tranquility, which is the most intelligent part of the mind, believe me. Settles down. In that settlement, everything is clear, the mind is, you become at least temporarily what the Gita calls Sthita Prajna. One who is prajna, consciousness has settled down, it becomes Sthita. Is there an exercise to go about it? Yes, there are several exercises, but in this time that we have got, I can give you one at least, and that is sit quietly, wear loose clothes, not when you are working. Set apart a time in the morning before you go to work or when you come back from work. Sit down, wear comfortable clothes. You can sit on the floor, in the chair, or wherever you want to sit comfortably. And then first take a deep breath and let it off. Open your mouth and exhale. Inhale with your mouth closed. Exhale. You know that when you're tired and you come back after playing a game or you want to sit down, what do you do normal? What is the normal body reaction? Why? Because that relaxes the system. So then sit down. After a few deep breaths, close your eyes. And then here is something very interesting. The moment you begin to watch your breath, the breath begins to become more rhythmatic and quiet and slow. You don't even have to control it. Watch it. The breath is like a mischievous child. If you keep watching, if you ask a mischievous child, which is having a nice heavy paperweight in his hand and there's a TV in front, and if he's trying to go near the TV to knock it, if you say, don't throw, he'll throw it immediately. The mind and the breath both are like that. So what do? Watch carefully, settle down, don't say a word. Look at the breath as you would look at the child who's carrying the paperweight. Carefully look. The child will look at you, then he'll look at the TV, then look at then he'll put it there and do something else. Many times. There are children who will throw, but exceptions. So, sit quietly, watch your breath as you breathe in and out. Don't even control it. Now, when you watch your breath going in, when you watch your breath going out, after a few minutes, not even few minutes, after a few seconds, you will see that you feel like giving a deep sigh or two, like that. And then watch your breath. What happens? You are still watching your breath. Slow down. And when it slows down, what happens? You begin to enjoy the calmness inside in some way. Try it out. You will see what it is like. and then keep watching them, slow, slow. For some time, you forget where you are sitting, you are free of all surroundings, the mind is quiet and settled down and enjoying itself in itself. Then naturally you need to go to work, wake up after 5-10 minutes and go and do your work. If you make this a daily practice, I bet the mind, when it is getting agitated or stressed, you need to just find a quiet place, sit down and close your eyes. Nobody will know what you are doing. They might think you are taking a power nap, not when you are driving, and you see how it improves. I wish you take this as a daily practice. Okay. Technique number 2 before I stop. Sit down and chant Om. Now please, when I say chant Om, don't give it a religious twist. So this comes from this tradition, so we are not. Om is a sound, it's a pure sound. So instead of breathing, watching the breath is one of the techniques, or you can combine the two. When you breathe in, when you are inhaling, visualize that one Om is being inhaled, and when you are exhaling, another Om is being exhaled. One Om, out one Om. Keep looking at that. Then after 5 minutes, chant Om, listening to the sound, not for others to hear, like Om. Notice that I give a lot of stress to the last syllable, Ma. Continue doing this for a while. Every day do for 5-10 minutes. Either the breathing or the Om or the combination of both. And you will see slowly, slowly you get rid of the stress which is building up. Why? Because the breath and the calmness and the Om also help to control your endocrine system. And when one says, I am not stressed, I am comfortable, I am happy, it means there is more serotonin in the bloodstream, the feel-goodness factor. And this is one way of bringing it about. It's very scientific. Moods are chemical, very scientific. Breath and meditation are those that control the supply of hormones to the blood and therefore make your body calm and quiet. Does that sound chemical or spiritual? Fortunately, both are same. By the by, my host, in whose house I'm sitting in San Jose and recording this talk, I'm talking to you, is also an alumni of the College of Engineering, Trivandrum. So thank you very much. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.